Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn. I thought I was the hardest working guy in boxing, and probably on the media side, but you are absolutely the hardest working promoter in some time because you're going to switch gears incredibly fast. You're headed to New York on Monday for the announcement press conference of a fight, I will admit, last time we talked about, we were in New York, and nobody thought you were going to make happen. Canelo Berlanga.
Yeah.
How does this come about in the summer of 24?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you want the golden pick, you know, when you've got a fighter. And when we signed Edgar Berlanga, I promised him we would get him the Canelo Alvarez fight. Now, at that time, we were working with Canelo Alvarez and promoted him. Now we're not. And I was like, we actually did something that was harder, which was to make the fight through the PBC. And shout out to Keith Connolly and everybody involved to make that fight for Edgar. He's a mandatory challenger. You know, he's undefeated. He's a huge puncher. Of course, we know the rivalry between Puerto Rico and Mexico. And it's a good fight. You know, I know that people want the Benavidez fight, but believe me when I say Edgar Berlanga will bring the heat in this fight. And we're excited and very honoured and delighted and grateful to receive the shot.
Listen, there's no disrespect to Berlanga. Like you say, he's a mandatory. He's got a right to that shot. It is disappointing by most fans' account and even the critics. They're not expecting a great challenge out of him from Canelo. What are they missing?
Oh, you definitely get a great challenge. He's a very good fighter. He punches very hard. He's undefeated. He's aggressive. And this is a shot of his lifetime. So you will get a great fight. I have no doubt about that.
Are we looking at a Canelo, again, that may be a bit on the decline, even from like the 2 years ago when we first started?
You know, I felt that when he fought Munguia, I thought, watching the Munguia Ryder fight, I thought, you know what, that's a tough fight. Like, they're very similar, Munguia and Berlanga. Young, tough, aggressive, can punch. And Canelo stepped up to the plate and he beat Munguia in a good fight. You know, at some point, he is going to start declining. At some point, he's going to start taking his foot off the gas. And you always have to hope it's September the 14th. Do you know what I mean?
When he's against your guy.
But he's a great competitor and he's a great fighter. And he's a stubborn individual and he's hard to beat. And, you know, Edgar will give it everything.
Somebody's got to catch this guy at the right moment.
Like Terence Crawford.
Okay, so that being said, you're quite buddy-buddy with His Excellency. You're putting on these fantastic shows, but he makes no mystery of what he wants. And he wants the fights to go the way he wants them to go so he can make the fights the way he wants them to make them. So right now, you might be standing in the way of what His Excellency wants.
Maybe on both sides, the two fights.
Yeah,
you know,
twice in a row.
Listen, I think Madrimov is a hell of a fighter. Super tough, ice cold, ready. Really ready. I like our chances in this fight. I really do. And Terence is amazing, like one of my favourite fighters. But I promise you, Madrimov is a tank, and he's a beast, and he's ready for tomorrow night.
Madrimov has said to me that when he beats Terence, he's going to take his Canelo shot.
There you go.
Are you ready to promise him that?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Now, listen, there's a lot going on in boxing. We talk all the time. So on the cusp of this big fight, let's get outside of boxing a little bit because my messages started pinging that you might want to be the next prime minister.
You know, the thing is, Rahim, is I say a lot of sarcastic stuff, and the problem is some people don't know when I'm being sarcastic, and some people, particularly in America, don't quite get the sarcasm. I think that's why I rub people up the wrong way sometimes. Regarding me being the prime minister, I mean, in my deluded mind, it's something that I could do, but in a realistic world, probably quite unlikely. Although my mates have started messaging me going, do you know what? Actually, this could work.
You
know,
see?
I mean, who knows?
And in America, that's a very dangerous thing.
I could deliver a great speech.
Anybody can be president.
Exactly.
Clearly.
Exactly. So, you know, if they can do it, why not me?
Let me pivot you then to a little bit of a political issue. I'm not trying to put you on the spot because this is like the big talk of boxing. I think there's also some misunderstandings about it as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I'm talking about the Olympics and, you know, this competition in the women's division. How do you perceive what's going on there and what the misunderstandings
I think firstly, you always need to understand the facts. And this is one of the problems with Twitter, X, whatever it is. Someone can put anything out there and people will believe it. And if it gains a bit of momentum, like before you know it, everyone sees it, and they're all talking about it. And that is a great example of a narrative that was spun, that there is a competitor in the Olympics that was born a man and is competing against women. The reality of the situation is, as I understand it, and I'm not an expert on the situation, but this individual was born female. She's lived her whole life as a girl and a woman, but she does have a biological makeup of a man with the XY chromosomes. Again, like I'm talking like I'm an expert, but this is an overview of the situation.
Right.
However, she's always competed as a woman, And this, she's got these chromosomes. I don't think is even, kind of like officially even proven. And also, she's lost many times. She's boxed in all the major competitions, and it's not like she's ever dominated the field. And do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So at first, and this is the danger of the internet, 2 days ago, I'm reading the situation. I'm thinking that this individual was born a man, because that's what I'm reading. It's not true, So I don't know the ins and outs. And if someone does have an unfair physical advantage, then that is something that needs to be looked at. But it's also not her fault. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's not like she's trying to gain an advantage by doing this. This is how she was born. And she's lived her whole life as a female. Right? So, I mean, it's such a hard topic to debate. But people should just understand the facts before they just go, oh, a man competing against a woman, that's disgusting. Right. The IOC are a joke, sling them out. Like, this is more of a war between AIBA and the IOC, because this is an AIBA ruling, Right. And we don't know all the facts of that ruling either. So, but we're in this specific sport of boxing, it's a very different scenario than if this was basketball or I don't know, table tennis. This is a sport where a physical advantage can result in physical damage to your opponent. And that's why they have to look at this very, very careful. But it's not as straight as it's a man. Do you understand?
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I had the same experience. I was ready yesterday to prepare all these questions about a woman having to face a biological man.
Yeah.
And then I learned after a little bit of research that this is not even close to the case.
No.
And so some of us in the boxing community are actually getting it right. So I just wanted to express that.
Yeah.
Because, we have to at least be accurate about what's being said.
And for her as well. It's not fair.
It's not fair.
No.
It's not fair. Let's lighten it up just a tad bit, because the undisputed rematch, if you will, is coming. And people are discussing if Tyson Fury should be mixing up his camp a little bit. We saw Sugar Hill here. Do you think that to face this again, he needs a new...
On this, it's like, none of us have any idea. We don't know Tyson Fury. We don't know what's in his head. We don't know what went on behind closed doors. The best person placed to make that decision is Tyson Fury. And I'm sure he'll make the best decision to give himself every chance in a rematch.
Lastly, we've seen Miller up here. He's got a bit of calmer demeanor. He's looking more fit. What's the relationship between you and him like now?
Good. I mean, look, I can't just forget what happened. But time is a healer, and I like the guy. He's made a mistake. Not all mistakes should be punished for eternity. Some should, depending on what they are. But I always like his company. Do you know what I mean? I said that I would never put him on one of my shows. I didn't put him on this show. I've never made a fight myself with Jarrell Miller. He's been on a couple of Riyadh season shows. I've had no say in that. It's been a long time. 5 years since that happened. So, sometimes people take an interview I took 5 years ago and things change over time. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't expect someone to think the same way 5 years later all the time on every different topic. People go, oh, you said this, and they pull up an interview from 2019. But,
If he comes through Saturday night, is that door open again?
Not right now, because we've got plans. Dubois, and then the winner of Usyk Fury.
Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn.